On today's episode, I talk about foreign investors evading taxes and collecting welfare checks. So I was born and raised in Vancouver. My family's all from here. We've lived and breathed Vancouver for I don't know how long, but my parents are both hardworking, good Canadian Vancouverites, and my dad's a pilot, my mom's a realtor, and just like most people, every year they pay their fair share of taxes, whether they agree with it or not. What you might not know is that realtors, it's a profession which is heavily audited by the Canadian government. My mom is probably one of the most honest people that I know, and I'm grateful for her attributes, as I feel like she's passed it down to me, and it's something that I take great pride in. So it frustrates me every year to see her be audited by the CRA, and they come after the most honest person. She's honest, she's hardworking, and so it is frustrating, because what they're saying is, we don't believe you, we don't trust you. So I'm not sure if you've seen the news lately, but I mean, if you have, you can't miss it. Articles all over the Globe and Mail, but foreign investors avoiding taxes through Canadian real estate. So here's an excerpt from the Globe and Mail, and I'm just going to read it word for word. So it goes, Beijing-based private equity manager who bought a $2.3 million home in the hot Vancouver real estate market said he did that while earning just $19,000 a year. He also wired nearly $2 million to his family in Canada during the same period. Jing Sung is among several foreign investors who bought property in Canada in recent years, but kept the extent of their wealth out of view of the tax authorities and the courts. But the Globe and Mail goes on to say, an in-depth look at the public data, including land titles office, tax reporting, and court records, revealed a distinct pattern, suggesting the typical wealthy foreign family buying Vancouver real estate pays little or no income or capital gains tax. So while many of us hardworking Canadians pay our fair share of taxes, the foreign investor comes in, outbids us on the home that we're trying to buy, then claims they're poor and doesn't pay any taxes. So in the Vancouver area of Dunbar, which most of us realtors would say is a top neighborhood for Chinese clients, 1 in 4 of what Stats Canada calls couple families declared income of less than $35,000 in 2013. That puts them in the lowest tax bracket. By the way, the average home in Dunbar is roughly about $2.2 million. But yet 1 in 4 families are declaring that their annual income is less than $35,000. So wrap your head around that. So the home goes under the wife or daughter or son's name. They're either unemployed or they're going to school. The husband wires in money to support them. Then we pay for all the taxes, for all the roads, the hospitals, the schools, the education, the likes, while they pay nothing. So the rich get richer. Okay, so here's another example. This is from the Globe and Mail, and I'm just going to read this one out. So Hong Kong businessman David Ho, judge determined he had a net worth of 15 to 20 million when his girlfriend Jade Chen came to Canada and started managing his assets for him. The court concluded Mr. Ho's annual income from one bank account alone was 100 times higher than the total income he reported to the CRA. The court concluded that Mr. Ho bought several properties in the Vancouver area. He put one in Miss Chen's name, another in his son's, and 2 more worth $5 million under a corporation. He did all this while claiming that his annual income was $1,254. $1,254 in 2009. So you're telling me he bought 4 Vancouver properties, all while making $1,254 a year? Something doesn't add up. But anyways, the article goes on to state that he put several properties in the name of a corporation that had no purpose but to hold his assets in trust. So when a corporation sells the property, the shareholders can simply sell the company's shares to the new buyer, so the home stays in the company's name, and thus, in that scenario, no one will pay the BC property transfer tax. So roughly on a $2 million property, you're looking at $40,000. So now they're using that loophole to not only avoid their taxes, but now they're not paying their BC property transfer taxes when they go to sell their home, which in many cases, there's been reports of homes selling 3 times in 5 years, just constantly changing hands. But the story goes on. And to make matters worse, Mr. Ho became a Canadian citizen years ago and signed up for BC health coverage. Okay. So until recently, however, he claimed on his taxes that he was a non-resident. So, basically to sum it up, so he was getting health care paid by me and you, free dental work, and even welfare and GST checks. Again, the rich get richer. So let that sink in. Your taxes, your hard-earned money, is being given as a welfare check to the foreigner who owns the multi-million-dollar home, the home that you can't afford. Did I mention that he already owns 4 homes? So while you struggle to buy a house, one single house, this dude already has 4. He's laughing all the way to the bank with your welfare check that you paid for. The reason I tell you this is not to rub it in your face. I'm just like you. I'm a hardworking citizen paying their taxes. The reason I tell you this is to get a message across. So Vancouver immigration lawyer Samuel Hyman goes on to say that neither the federal nor the BC governments are cracking down on people paying these high prices for homes, but then are not paying taxes on a global income. That goes for both overseas property owners who are avoiding taxes through a legal loophole by becoming non-residents for income tax purposes, for example, and for those residents acting outside the law by not reporting global income. So how is this allowed to go on? The system is broken. It's been broken for a long time, but it's time to have a voice, to be heard, to push for change. My hope is that this message has resonated with you, and if it has, like this video, share it with your friends, spread the message, and hopefully we can make change together. It's time to hold people accountable. Thank you for joining me in this fight, and see you next week.